Hello everyone, today's video is going to be my April palette roundup where I show you all the palettes I used in the month of April, and I also show you the looks that I also have done in April. This is ranked in the number of uses the palettes have gotten and not by how much I have liked the palettes. So we start with palettes that got used once all the way up to the one palette that got used 5 times in the month of April. I do have an entire playlist for this video concept. I will link that down below. There is over a year's worth of palette roundups in there, and I hope you guys enjoy today's video. Moving over to the side, because the first palette, my look will be up here. It is my Tarte Reflections. It is very reflective, and I really enjoy this palette. I got it sometime last year, and I just missed it. I haven't used it in a while. I did a really simple purple look, and I'm telling you right now, this month I did a lot of K looks, purples, pinks, neutrals. This is definitely in my wheelhouse, up my alley. Next palette I used once. Oh, I should say this. I used 8 palettes one time, and these are all the palettes that got one use. I used my little Kaja Bento Trio once, and I used it in this look, and I forgot to take a good picture, so I took it in my car at work. I used the dark brown, or the brown matte, and then I also used the first shimmer that is in this little palette all over my lid. I used it in conjunction with another palette. Really like the Kaja formula, the really nice formula. It's just a little inconvenient, the style of packaging. This one I'm not going to be showing you the look because I did it in a video. I used my Huda Rose Quartz palette. I did this in collaboration with Jessica Dearly, and I'll leave that link down below. And I'll also leave Jessica's channel link down below. But we did a video inspired by pink flowers and spring. So we both used this palette and we both created a pink look. My friend Eden here on Instagram, I'll leave her Instagram link down below, but she did a No Pan Left Behind on her Huda Nude Light. This month I've used all my Huda palettes, so that was fun. This is such a special place in my heart, and I just did a super simple look with this. I just used the 3 here in a row. Really basic, really simple, nothing to like write home about or anything, but I love this palette. It's super simple and compact. And thank you, Eden, for reminding me that it exists and reminding me that I need to use it. And the last Huda palette that I used once was my Mercury Retrograde. It's very pretty packaging. And I use like the peachy shades in this palette to create this look. Really enjoyed this look. I need to bring this back out. I really want to do a Throwback Thursday sometime in May with this palette, so we'll see if I have enough time. But this palette is beautiful, and I do want to get a lot more use out of it this summer or spring. This look was done in a video, but I used the Diverum Gloomy Gardens, and I also used another palette. This was my spring this or that video with Nikki Lynn. I'll leave Nikki down below, and I'll leave that video down below. We rolled in 2 palettes, so we both put in Gloomy Gardens and we both did the new Nomad Fairy Tale Europe palette. And so I created a look with this palette. Oranges, reds, that was the vibe, but I'll leave that down below if you want to see the look. It was a halo eye. I'm not the biggest fan of halo eyes. I was not a biggest fan of how that looked on myself. Halo eyes and I don't really like them on myself, and I think I'm learning that. Not everything has to look good on everybody. I also used my ColourPop Garden Variety palette once, and I'm surprised I only used this once, but I did it with that Kaja palette. So I used the peaches here. I did the green on the lower lash line and on the inner corner. Super lovely. I really enjoy this palette. I want to use it a lot more often. And this is just my favorite of mine, And the last look that got used once was my ColourPop and Bratz palette. This is in, is it my deck of panning for No Pan Left Behind? If you see any shades missing, they're in my BYOP, which we'll get to that. But this is the color story, And I did do another K look, very simple, has some pinks in there, but I really enjoy this palette and the looks that I have created. I'm looking at my pictures while I am talking. I'm sorry if that's distracting to you, but I really, really enjoy this look and definitely would make it again. Now we're on to all the palettes that got used twice. I have 4 physical palettes for you. So this is the Urban Decay Naked Reloaded. I did some very pretty simple looks and I hit a pan. How exciting, that little shiny little sliver. Both looks were really simple. One was definitely more peachy. I think I filmed my packaging pet peeves video. I think I wore that peachy look for that video. And then I know I filmed another video with this second look. It was a lot more neutral. It was definitely neutral. And I went to a volunteering event. I really love this palette. Super simple, basic palette. Works with any sort of occasion. For me, that is my like lucky palette, like job interviews, dates, things like that nature. I like to use that palette. It's super user-friendly. Next palette is my Profusion Ethereal. I love this palette so much. I used some of these neutral tones to make a look, and I think I put some of the blues on the lower lash line. Really enjoyed this look with the gold all up into the lid. I really enjoyed that one. And I use this in combination with something else to create a beautiful purple look. And this palette, so special to me. It's just beautiful, and I definitely need to use it more often. Profusion has a solid formula, especially for the price. My only complaint is the packaging. It has that flimsy plastic cover. I don't think it's the best packaging, but you know, you pay like $10 for it. The formula is amazing, and I really enjoyed that purple look. I want to thank Jen from Jen B Beauty or something like that. I'll leave her channel link down below. She was gracious enough to send me her Natasha Nona Love palette, and I really appreciate her doing so. And it has some pinks and has some purples. I think in her video she said that she really never strayed away from this corner of the palette. Like, she primarily used the purples and didn't really delve into the other shades. So both looks I have done this month, I have delved into the other shades. So I did more of a peachy look. I can't remember the shades that I used, but I definitely did a more peachy look. I felt myself in this very pink, peachy. I loved the look. And then my second look was more pink. I know I definitely used the shade here. I don't know if you'll be able to tell in my photos, but I do have like a sparkly pink winged eyeliner. So if I can show it to you better on screen, I will. But I just want to thank Jen for sending this to me, and I really do love and appreciate it. Can't wait to use it more often. So I did really like both of those looks. I still need to dive into these purples, but the pinks called my name and I wanted to use both the pinks. And this also came later in the month, so for me to use this twice, I think was a really good one. Also want to thank DW for sending me some palettes. So I did use my Beauty Bay Brights 2.0 twice this month. Shocker here, another pink look. So I used some of these pinks, some things down in this row. Really love this palette. The thing's huge, so I gotta like get out of camera so you can see the look and the palette. Super simple pink look. Like, we all knew it was coming. We all knew it was coming. So really enjoyed this look. And then I like to give, you know, a picture of this palette to a friend and be like, choose some colors for me. So I did this for Earth Day, actually. It was this bright yellow green look. I can't remember the shade she chose. Did she choose these 3? I don't remember, but she definitely chose some greens, and I did this really bright yellow and green look. Like, this, today's look is more like gold and green, but that look was a bright green. Really enjoy this palette, and I want to thank DW for sending it to me. Now, we're gonna get into the BYOPs. and how the numbers are affecting these videos and how they're affecting my spreadsheet. I showed you the pre-made palettes that I used twice, and this little BYOP here got used twice. And I didn't want to claim it as a physical palette because these shades go into other palettes. So what I have done is, how I do this is in the month I do my 1 through 30 or 31, and I write down the palette that I used. When I did my BYOP, I drew a little tiny map and I marked out the shades that I have used. And then when I went into my Google Sheets, and I know, I said I was going to do a video about the Google Sheets and how I do my sheets. And time has gotten away from me, and I think it's too late in the year to do a Sheets video, a Google Sheets video. So when I am in my mega Google Sheet with all my eyeshadow palettes and all my usage, I went to see what shades these palettes go to, and I put a 1 in there. So like, let's say this green shade is from the Lost in Wonderland palette from ColourPop. I used this green shade once, so that palette got 1 use. Does that make sense? Like, this shade here is from Diveroon, the Gloomy Gardens. So once I use this shade once, that palette, technically in the month of April, it has 2 uses. 1 as a standalone and then 1 as a part of my BYOP. Does that make sense? So in my spreadsheet, it doesn't match my numbers that are in these videos and how I calculate them. And I felt like that was the best way to do it. So I did use this little BYOP. I took inspiration from the outside packaging. These both are, there's going to be another one. These are from Give Me Glow, and my first inspiration I wanted to do from the palette itself. This first look, I definitely went into these greens and blues, and I did put that Diveroon shade all over the lid. And then the other look I did was focusing on these neutrals here, and it was extremely simple, extremely neutral, very simple K look again. Because of the BYOP, I used 15 pre-made palettes, but in my spreadsheet, I have used 25 total palettes. So I used an extra, in this case, 10 palettes because they were in my BYOPs. For the palettes got used 3 times. This is my second BYOP, and it is my Moth and Books palette because it has Moth and Books on it. And the inside, I really wanted to channel this vibe here. I do have an Instagram post all about the shades, the names, and things of that nature. And I really wanted to give this one just an extra use because it is bigger than the other one. So I did do 3 looks with this. The first one is a very simple, basic look. And there's another shade from that Lost in Wonderland palette. This is a beautiful color. That palette got a lot of usage this month from my BYOPs. So I did a really simple look. The shade that's all over my lid is this color right here. This is from Pretties for Your Face. This one I went to a bingo with this look. Very cool toned. And then I did a pop of the purple in the inner corner. I thought this look was fun. It wasn't my favorite look, but it was definitely fun. And I did not win bingo, by the way. And the last look was purples. I definitely used this dark purple from Lethal, and overall a very basic purple look. I kind of like half-assed this look early in the morning. I do go to work in most of these looks, so sometimes I just don't feel up to it. So I just slap something on and call it a day. I want to note that 3 of these, this, what do you want to call this? Like a mid-tone color, the dark gray, and this purple, they all came from the Bratz palette. So when I used it, those colors from this palette, it got a use for the Bratz palette. So I think the Bratz in total got like 3 uses or something because certain shades got used for my BYOPs. I really hope that makes sense. I wanted it to make the most sense to you. I also wanted it to be an accurate representation for my numbers, because I do want to do a ranking my palettes by usage again at the end of this year. The only pre-made palette that got used 3 times is my Garden of Juvia's from Juvia's Place. I cherish this palette. It is beautiful and stunning. The shimmers are beautiful. I love this palette so much. This is the look that I incorporated from the Profusion Ethereal to create that beautiful purple look. Really enjoyed that one. And I also used this for Easter. So I used a lot of these shades for Easter. And what I do is I put the matte on first. And then I put a little bit of a tacky base on top of it and then layer the shimmers. They're not sheer, but they definitely could benefit from having something underneath it to assist in color payoff. But these shadows are stunning. Juvia's Place did something good with this palette, and I love this so much, and it's going to be so great for the spring and the summertime. Then the last look was the last and final look I did for the month of April. It was a green, and I think I put some of this Oh Honey shade on the lower lash line. Really enjoyed that look. In the month of April, I did a lot of looks with this Nomad Fairy Tale Europe. Unfortunately, I did a video with all of these looks, so that will be all linked down below. With the Fairy Tale Europe palette, I did do 3 out of the 4 looks for my How to Make Colorful Eyeshadow Wearable video. That seems to have a lot of good feedback, and I'm glad you really enjoyed that video. And like, this just screamed that video, did it not? You have all those neutrals, and then you have the pops of color. I really hope you guys enjoyed that video. But 3 of the 4 looks from this palette were in that video. And then the last and final look was that Nikki Lynn Spring This or That, and half of my shades came from this palette, and also linked down below. And I really enjoy that I used it 4 times. Then the last palette that I've used in the month of April, I used 5 times, and it was my Nomad Tokyo Harajuku palette. But I did do a bunch of videos with this. I did my 3 looks 1 palette video, so I did 3 whole looks, and it's using this palette and this palette only. So I did do a 3 looks 1 palette video with this at the very beginning of April, and then somewhere in the middle of April I did that How to Make Colorful Eyeshadow Wearable video where I use this in 2 of the looks. This is another really pretty pastel palette that I like to get some use on in the spring and summertime, and unfortunately this one is discontinued. So I used that palette 5 times. I'm not mad about that at all. Overall, in the month of April, I used makeup or wore makeup 28 days out of the 30. So only 2 days I was a slackin'. Also really good for me. I have been wearing makeup pretty much every day for the last couple months. And I said this earlier, if I'm talking about pre-made palettes, I used 15 of them. If I were to count all the palettes that got used from my spreadsheet, because including my BYOPs, and I couldn't read my handwriting earlier, it's 23, not 25. In total, based on my spreadsheet, and because of my BYOP, I have used 23 different eyeshadow palettes. One of them is new to me, and I want to thank Jen again. I'll leave her link down below for giving me that palette. So the reason why I have so many palettes used is my BYOPs, and I did get a request to film the process of creating my next BYOP, so I will, after this video, put all of these away into their respective homes. And I don't think I'll film that today. I think I'll film it later in the week or something. The process of making my new BYOP. If you guys enjoy these palette roundup videos, again, link is down below for the playlist. Very fun content. I show you all the looks, I show you all the palettes. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. And what was your favorite palette? What was your favorite look? I love to hear it all down below. Like, comment, and subscribe like you guys always do. And I love and appreciate you guys so much. And I shall see you guys next time.